call ourselves to order. Everybody could join me in a moment of silence. We say a pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't mean to suggest that the pledge was just my idea at that moment. Perhaps it was somehow optional. So, with that, let me call the roll. I am present. Dr. O'Neill?
Present.
Mr. Heater?
Present.
Mrs. Spales?
Present.
Mrs. Barnes-Griffin?
Present.
Mr. Irvin?
Present.
Mr. Lowe? Mr. Lowe is not here. I think he may be vacation. So, CEO comments.
Great. I hope you're ready. I have a few tonight for some updates. First of all, I want to recognize our Muncie band. They received first place at Centerville. The following weekend, they received second place at Jay County and then first place in Muncie. They will perform this Saturday at Muncie Central. I think it's after 9 o'clock that they perform. And so we're excited to be able to see them continue with this great winning streak. Fun time for our band. We also wanted all of our families to know that if you register by August 2nd, your student will be guaranteed to be routed on a bus for the first day of school. If you register after August 2nd, it may be delayed when you have transportation. We'll do our very best to make that happen as fast as possible, but that August 2nd date will be very important. With that, we have registration the rest of this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 1 to 6 on Thursday, or Wednesday and Thursday, and 8 to 1 on Friday. Families need to bring proof of residency, even though we take students from all over, but we still need to know where you're living, your ID, and immunizations if you have them. If you don't have those documents, still come and register, and then we'll work with you to get what you need. Our schools are open for registration anytime, but these will be the times when we have extra people in schools to help support you. I also wanted to mention that part of our strategic plan, our fifth pillar of focus, was on family and community involvement. And we don't have a dedicated time for parent-teacher conferences. So we have worked with lots of different groups, and we've identified that we could repurpose our PD Day on September 28th, and we would be able to define that as our parent-teacher conference day. And so we just wanted to make note of that. The YMCA has programs. Generally were running after-school programs, but because of a 21st Century grant and also the state's learning loss grant, it's more than just an after-school program. There are components for literacy and for different academics that will take place to help address learning loss. So with that, rather than starting the very first day of school for after-school programming, that first week of school, the family or the staff will participate in professional development, and then on August 16th will be the first day that we'll begin running those programs in our schools. So some of our families in the past, they were able to receive services right away, and there's a little confusion, but it's really because of grant requirements for the type of training that need to take place, and that's why we've made it August 16th. I would like to ask for two things of the board. The first is, usually at this time of year, there's always a domino effect. If someone has applied someplace else and then they have a resignation and then they are asked to take that job, there's a domino effect of then, we need to hire. And sometimes that doesn't fall between board meetings. So in the past, the board gave me permission to fill vacancies that might occur between now and the end of September. And I would appreciate if you would give me permission to do that again, so we would be able to get staff in and we wouldn't have to wait until a board meeting until you approve them.
So CEO's asked for us to entertain the same motion we've done in prior years. So at this point, unless there are any questions, we'll take a motion. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay,
Great.
passed.
I also wanted to mention this afternoon, President Mearns and I were able to present to our state Senate committee from the General Assembly about the progress with Muncie Community Schools and Ball State University and the partnership, and it was really well received. Many, many good comments. We're proud of the work that's going on and proud of the work that's going to continue to happen in the future. With that, with Ball State University, we really rely on their student teachers and some of their practicum teachers. And right now we asked that volunteers, folks coming in, be vaccinated. And what we're learning with Ball State, that makes it a little more complicated with some of the students. So rather than asking for us to have them certify that they're vaccinated, we would like to be able to say our Ball State University partners, the students, the practicum students, student teachers, that we would just ask them to mask up when they're in our schools. And this is important for us to talk about this evening or make that decision, because they have to get those student teachers placed and practicum students placed. So the timing is really important for this.
So we've talked with Ball State about this, and I think the compromise that's been reached is that requiring all the student teachers and practicum and observers to have masks when they're working at MCS. So unless you need a motion for that? I don't think we do.
Everybody,
You can just wrap it into the plan once we finalize it.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect. And that's it for me.
Any questions for Dr. K? Andy, do we have anybody sign up? Okay. Then I will take this opportunity to address item 21 on the agenda briefly for those who are watching and those who have communicated their concerns to the board. On June 25th, we had information that other schools were communicating with their reopening plans. And we made a decision at that time to hold off for just what we've seen today, and that was to give us a greater opportunity to determine the facts that were prevailing on the ground at the time of the school's reopening. So we had matched our plan largely to the proposed plan largely to other plans within the community. There was communication regarding concerns with that, given the advancing numbers both locally and nationally. So the board has determined, and additionally at 3 p.m. today, the CDC issued new guidance for consideration. So in order to give the board adequate time to digest that new guidance from the CDC, we are going to table the reopening plan with an expectation that we would do a special meeting next week to consider possible changes and the final plan. I understand, or we all understand, that families are anxious. We certainly want to do this in a way which is the most beneficial for our students and their families, and we are looking closely at the guidance from the CDC that came out today, and to give the state health department and local health departments an opportunity to react to that. I did, and I have been checking on a regular basis Delaware County's numbers. Unfortunately, our 14-day change is up 129%. We had 24 cases on July 26th. The state of Indiana likewise is seeing similar changes. As I've spoken to folks at the hospital, and they tell me that largely what they're seeing is a pandemic advancing largely among the unvaccinated. So it's unfortunate that those who are eligible for the vaccine, that we still have any number of folks who are not willing to take it, and thereby are driving numbers in a way which is causing significant disruptions around the country. So as of today, we are going to table this. I'm looking at next Tuesday, same time, for a special meeting. If that's, unless somebody has an existing conflict, that will give adequate time to review the newly issued guidance and the dialogue from the CDC, and it will also give the local and state health departments an opportunity to react to that guidance in a thoughtful way, hopefully. And we'll go from there. Any questions?
Do we expect the Indiana Department of Education to come out and provide any commentary?
No, the Indiana Department of Education is getting the guidance from the Indiana Department of Health.
Okay, so
And so the guidance that they.
so there's been no change in that?
That's correct.
Because that's the way it's been?
Right.
Okay, all right.
So with that, unless there are any additional questions, we will move on to the consent agenda. Items A through H on the consent agenda. Any questions concerning those items? Would entertain a motion to approve those items in the consent agenda.
So moved.
Did you
So-
get that? So-
Mark was a movement. I think Dave was the second.
Because they both at the same time.
And stereo.
It was a photo finish. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Okay, we'll show the consent agenda passed. Item 21, Dr. Kwiatkowski, Dr. Reynolds, everybody else, let's take another look at what the guidance is. And I tried to print off a transcript before I came down today, and it was not yet available. So I think at this point, all we can do is take a look at that and see how the state's reacting and how the local Department of Health is reacting to it as well. I would also ask that we communicate with the health system and just get their best guidance and what Dr. Voss and Dr. Bird's recommendation are. So I do want to say on that issue one final thing, and that was the administration saw lots of schools coming out with their plans in late June, and Dr. Kwiatkowski, along with others in the system, determined that it was best to wait and see what the facts were on the ground. Here we are in late July. So I'm pleased that we took, the precaution of waiting until we saw what numbers were on July 27th, 2021. So thank you. We are on to item 22, permission to approve the internal control document. Mr. Jerome.
Thank you. Also presented in your board package tonight, item 22, permission to approve the internal control document. State Board of Accounts requires us to do this type of document each year, and I'm presenting it to the board tonight. And also, we also have our administrators and ECA treasurers sign this as well as our business office, and we're just looking for a motion to approve that.
Any questions concerning that?
Brad, are there any particular areas where we have a harder time with dual control, or a harder time with being able to consistently follow those controls?
Not really in the last 2 years. I mean,
Okay.
this process of being a lot more organized and formal with the internal control process forces you to be better. And so I know we've received those type of results when we've had our last 2 audits at least. We've been much better in that fashion. So, we're doing some new things with paying some of our bills electronically. Now that's a new thing we've created. But yet we feel like these control documents and the process that we say we're following, that's really what State Board of Accounts wants to make sure you're doing. If you say this is your process, then make sure you're following. So.
And if I may add, so we have Lisa, who works in the business office, and she is our best internal control. She makes sure that everybody follows every step.
Thank you,
So we're
Lisa.
very thankful for her.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. They don't like me sometimes.
Well, I think in reviewing the controls, they are comprehensive, and sometimes, sometimes it's easy to try to cover everything, and in so doing, it creates more opportunities not to follow the control. Right. So, they look like the big controls, and I guess that's one of those things we want to keep looking at to make sure we're focused on the right ones and not create more of a challenge for us when somebody comes in and looks at it. So it's a good job. I thought they looked great.
Do we have to renew our decommissions every year?
Every year I have to be able to say that we have covered the internal control document with the appropriate school board and then as well as the appropriate administrators. So I'm going to keep doing this about every June or July. I'll keep having a chance to update it and then put it in front of the board. So.
Okay, any additional questions?
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, on to item 23, the motion to approve support staff compensation for 2021-2022. You have in your packets the memorandum from Dr. K. And they're hitting the high points. Administrative assistants are going up 75 cents an hour. Administrative assistants at school sites are going to a minimum of $15 an hour. And instructional aides and assistants are going to a minimum of $14 an hour. And special education instructors and aides are going to a minimum of $14 an hour. To put that in perspective, we had, at the time we were reviewing these documents earlier, with the compensation committee consisting of Mrs. Bales and Mr. Heater and myself, we had folks ranging as special education assistants from $13.83 to $11.72, with very little rhyme or reason as to how those distinctions developed. So this tends to tighten that range considerably. The range of salaries for instructional assistants will now run from $14 an hour to $14.28 an hour. So that is a positive, I think, development given the economic realities in the community in terms of the need to raise that wage in order to attract people to come to work here. We have our behavior coaches receiving an $800 salary increase, and they'll make a minimum of $36,959. Camp Adventure facility coordinator, a $500 salary increase. Security director, a $500 increase. Credit recovery coordinator, a $500 increase. The rest of the ranges are included on there, and the only one I'm going to draw attention to is the permanent substitute teachers, which we have increased to $15 an hour. So is there any questions concerning the recommended compensation increases for support staff employees? Any commentary?
I think it was important for everybody to know that we know how important support staff is throughout the system. Obviously, hiring is a challenge right now, and we are thankful for the work that's done, whether it's sweeping floors or helping a special ed kid. And so I think at least it was an opportunity for us to try to pay attention to that. The other thing we did was the Brad stress test, the increase, as we did with all other compensation changes we've made, to make sure that we feel it fit into the future projections for the corporations.
Okay. Any additional questions or commentary?
If I may just say, for everyone watching, let people know we're increasing and send folks, we have openings in those support staff positions. So we hope that we get more applicants.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything further? Entertain a motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Mrs. Phelps?
Thank you and good evening, everyone. Based on input from teachers, support staff, and administrators, we're asking the board to approve the revisions as listed. Please note that any new information added to the handbook is shown in red font, and anything that we're going to take away from the handbook has a black line through it. And just know that all the other current language in the handbook will remain the same. We're going to have revisions, just like with Brad, but the internal controls, we're going to have revisions every year because there's always something new that pops up.
Any questions concerning the revisions? Okay, would entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Been moved? Seconded? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. On to dialogue of the board and future recommendations. Anybody have any dialogue? Anything for the good of the order?
Congratulations again to you. That was awesome stuff for our band and our kids out there doing their thing. So.
I tell you, it's you need a little shot in the arm, a little rejuvenation. You head out there on a 5 to 9 through the week. You see them out there working hard. They're a great bunch of folks out there.
Is everybody okay with a special meeting next Tuesday, 5 o'clock, same time?
I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So we'll go ahead and set down a special meeting to take up the plan, and I will send you what communications I receive regarding anything that the state or local department is doing in response to the guidance that came out this afternoon. And the media is reporting, I've not looked at the transcript, but the media is reporting that the CDC is recommending a mask for all students K-12, regardless of, and employees, regardless of vaccinated status. So we'll take a look at that and be in a position to discuss it and make a decision next week. Is there anything further?
Hope you're all ready. What's happening, right?
Do you want to mention we have a couple of pretty significant retirements
Right.
Yeah,
for a couple of ladies that were
I was
in
pretending.
that building when I was in that building.
I was pretending they didn't happen.
I think the two of them add up to 99 years of teaching experience in that building.
And I've appreciated, since I've been here, that they both have been, always willing to meet with me and give me suggestions and give me good guidance. And so I'll miss both of them. But I asked both of them, when it's time to tutor some kids, we know who to call.
So, yeah, specifically Patricia Kennedy from Southview with 47 years. Judy Woodson at Southview with 52 years. And Lisa Wise at Northview with 33 years.
Right.
So, yeah, those are losses. So we wish them well in their retirement. We have some others that are departing. for various reasons, and want to just call attention to Michelle Body at our music teacher at Westview, who is pursuing a remarkable opportunity for her to move to a professorship at Anderson. And she has really been an amazing educator for many years for us. So thank you to Michelle, and we wish her the best. Anything else? Thank you, Chuck, for reminding me of that. Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion. I'll second it. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Okay, thank you. We'll stand adjourned.